With architecture, John and Christina both work in the same basic field. For our next couple, Jennifer Owen and Brad Cox, the situation is a little different. She's a dancer and choreographer, while he writes music and performs it in various ways. They've also teamed up for a new addition to the household, as Randy Mason discovered.
I mean, I liked Brad from the start and liked his music and liked being with him. And it was just kind of a natural progression. A lot of our conversations are about art and projects that we're working on, and it's hard to separate those things sometimes, but he's also just really fun to hang out with. Yeah, so actually, as soon as the music ends, it can go into it.
Just as soon as it ends. Okay.
Pretty much.
Even before the Reverend Dwight Frizzell pronounced them husband and wife, Jennifer and Brad had been building the Owen Cox brand for several years. Now, in the midst of their 8th season, the duo has become a trio.
Cecilia's seen a lot more dance rehearsals than I have over the past 6 months, and she's a very nice addition to the studio.
But they definitely... I'm actually surprised at how much we're still able to get done with the baby. I wasn't sure how it would affect our lives, but we've actually been able to still produce work and put on our performances.
Doted on by cast and crew, Cecilia even made it into the soundtrack of the most recent multimedia piece, A Body of Work.
Originally, the idea was to base all of the music around the sounds that dancers' bodies make while they're moving, and also the sounds from one female vocalist, Victoria Botero. Cecilia came along, and she was making so many phenomenally interesting sounds that you can't really make once you reach a certain age. And so I just started recording them, and a lot of those sounds found their ways as samples into the music as well.
Whether it's looping the cries of infants and sounds of sopranos, or playing alongside cellists and saxophonists, or driving the People's Liberation Big Band, Brad brings an explorer's mentality to creating soundscapes. One of his chief inspirations? The longtime collaboration between John Cage and choreographer Merce Cunningham.
Brad has a real good sense for movement and choreography, and I think he has a really good eye, really good understanding of how the two can work together.
I work a lot in jazz music, so I'm very open to the idea of something that I wasn't expecting to happening there, you know, in front of me.
Having the ability to talk to a composer throughout the process and get input and offer your input, it's rare. And it's compelling for dancers to be a part of the creation of a new work and to get to perform with live music. A lot of dance performances are not to live music. I think that's unique and special. Not every piece is, you know, an emotional roller coaster for sure, and we have certain pieces that are incorporate a lot of humor, and that's the quality we really like to bring out. I feel like, in general, dance is very serious, especially modern dance. And one choreographer I really admire, Mark Morris, brings out a lot of humor in his choreography as well.
Speaking of humor, there's that and more sprinkled throughout the Nutcracker and the Mouse King. What began as a music-only big band show a few years back has become an annual dance extravaganza, an alternative that actually hews closer to E.T.A. Hoffmann's Holiday Tale.
The original story is just so weird. It's just, you know, it's kind of dark and thorny, and it just goes off on these strange tangents. And so we sort of tried to do the same thing, you know, make our Nutcracker embrace the original story a little bit more.
I remember the first year we did it, oh my goodness, I lost so much sleep and it was a lot of work to put together in a short amount of time. But it's much more of an established piece for us that we don't have to reinvent.
As a dancer, Jennifer figures she put in well over 20 years of classic Nutcracker duty. These days, with more and more responsibilities, her time has largely, but not completely, given way to the hats she wears offstage.
Hey, dancers. I do find that it's easier and more enjoyable to choreograph when I don't have to be a part of the dance. It can be very difficult to stand back and see what is being created when you're a part of it. I also feel like the choreography can be stronger when I can remove myself from the dance so that it's not about, well, this step really feels good on my body, let's do this. It's like, well, this looks really good on Holly, and well, Jeff can do this phenomenally, so let's do that.
As for that new face in the family photo, you gotta wonder, is Cecilia being groomed for dance, music, or both?
She's not rolling over yet, so I don't know how much, as far as the dance moves, but she's definitely interested in watching dance. And just a few days ago, she started to bang on the piano because Brad will hold her on his lap, and she'd usually just put her hands on his hands while he'd play piano and just kind of look. And now she's like, I have my own idea of what to play.
That's what it needed.
Yeah.